Can you? Okay, we can start. Okay, so sorry for this, because the names are being provided to me and I just noted it down. So I'll start with a few questions here from maybe Tirumurthy. The question is, how can the curriculum balance AI, sustainability, and traditional discipline for the future-proof Indian education system?
So good afternoon. Basically, before we go into the deeper into the question, I want to give a perspective of the learning where EduSkills plays a role, right? Connecting the industry and the institution together. So I believe in 5 I's that needs to be connected together: the industry, institution, innovation, incubation, and the internship. So when all these 5 I's connect together, I'm sure definitely the students who are coming out will be the skilled, employable talent pool that is going to serve the industry, that is going to take it forward. And coming on to the question of AI and sustainability, so since you are addressed on the point of autonomy, and it is highly important that we have to rephrase and redesign our curriculum on the trends that is moving forward. That's what I believe in.
The question was basically the building the curriculum. See, AI is almost by default today, right? Then when AI comes, how to sustain our education system actually and also maintain a proper future-proof Indian education system. And third is the traditional discipline, how much you should carry forward. You have to understand those. So looking at this blend together, how can we future-proof this Indian education system? So that is what the question is all about.
So I got it. So basically, for people who work here, they understand there's a domain and the technology. So to have a future proof of the curriculum, so I would suggest the domain of the current mechanical or the civil or whatever the core industries, that will have to be compensated with the technology. That has to be imbibed along with the technology. I think the domain and the technology together will take this forward.
Now the next question I want to ask to Professor Aggarwal. See, what role can Indian universities play in fostering the public-private partnership for skill development, PPP model? See, what role can Indian universities play in fostering the public-private partnership, PPP, in the skill development?
Thank you. I think as far as skill development is concerned and connecting it to public-private partnership, I think it has become rather imperative now, because traditionally our university system has been oriented towards more academic side, more so our teachers, particularly the senior teachers, are used to decades of experience, which was primarily focused on knowledge, if I call it that way. Okay. But now we have come to realize very strongly that while knowledge is very important, but in addition to that, skills is equally important. Mm-hmm. And the reason for this are many, but probably the primary reason, according to me, is that the rate of change in the industry is very fast. Mm-hmm. Industrial rate of change a couple of decades ago was okay, but now it has multiplied many fold. Mm-hmm. And therefore, what you call as curriculum, which was your first question, I mean, we did have cases in this country where curriculum did not change for decades. Mm-hmm. Now, if the curriculum doesn't change even 4 years of the duration of a BTech, it's too old. So with that kind of scenario, it was realized that the skill set required for employability, and not only for employability, I think has become a buzzword, but even for professional growth, skill set is necessary, and skill set will again have to be changed repeatedly. And therefore, what I say is, even the meta skills, what we call is how to skill yourself. Mm-hmm. That skill also will be very important. And in that scenario, the industry, because they are using their skill, their involvement into the engineering or technical education system has become almost mandatory if we want to make sure that the bachelors remain relevant to the industry and can reskill themselves whenever it's required. And therefore, public-private partnership, whether we use the same terminology or whether we use the terminology academia-industry partnership, I think that would be more relevant in this context, because it's not a question of private or public, it's a question of academia-industry connect. And I would again emphasize this has crossed the threshold of desirability. I think this has now come to the domain of mandatorily doing it, and both the industry and the academia should only find ways and means how to do it, rather than debating whether it is desirable or not.
So in this context of, whether it is the industry-institute collaboration and all, so one more question just I would ask you, because it's relevant to this particular discussion. How should universities integrate emerging technologies like blockchain, 5G, AI, etc. into the curriculum? How do you feel how this can be integrated into the curriculum?
No, integrating into the curriculum is no difficulty at all. I think it's only a question of mindset. I again repeat, universities have to make up their mind that they have to do it. Integrating into the curriculum, particularly after the announcement of National Education Policy, where flexibility has been brought in at every step. Now it's not required that all your courses must be 4-credit courses. It's not required that the examination system for all the subjects has to be same. With all these flexibilities having been formally brought into the National Education Policy, you can just decide how much skill requires how many hours, and therefore how many credits, how can it be examined. So I may be sorry to use this word, I think talking about integration complexities are hypothetical. I think you make up your mind and just do it, it's done. There's nothing very rocket science in
the complexity of in a university system, even today, it's a board of studies, then you have to pass this particular course into the board of studies and then bring the entire context of integrating that in the course curriculum and providing as a credit course, right? In the process, so how do you feel that that adaptability or agility has to be brought in the university system?
Suman, I would again feel, see, if you talk about universities and affiliated colleges, yes, that's a problem for this country and will probably stand for some more years. Because for affiliated colleges to do these things themselves will be difficult. But for university boards of studies, it's again, I repeat, it's a question of mindset. That it has to be done and therefore it has to be done. You can always replace a course by, say, 2 skill set courses. You can always decide that the examination in this skill credit course will only be a small project. There will be no written paper at all. All this is provided for, and we have to be mentally prepared for it. And as a matter of fact, if you ask me, this was always the flexibility given to the university. Our university system, unfortunately, has been more conservative than it should have ever been.
Absolutely.
But this, I'll just take a minute to relate a case. I went for inspection of a university, deemed university, which was to be set up. It's now one of the very highly ranked university, but at that time it was just being set up. And like many other private universities, they had the schools also. And the Vice-Chancellor proudly told me that, sir, our university students are so good that they have networked the complete school by themselves without any additional help. I just smiled. And he said, what, sir? I said, you will still want them to study Tannenbaum and appear in the theory exam for the computer networking. Why the fact that they have networked the school completely by themselves, give them credits for this course. And I convinced him that your act allows this, but you are not bold enough to do this. So what I'm trying to say is it's To me, it's just a question of mindset change. No rocket science is required, no complex decision taking is required. You have just to make sure and convince yourself that this has to be done, and it is done.
Mindset is one, you can bring the process change is one, okay. Then also facilitation. See, it is not that I can bring in a blockchain course or AI course, but who is going to facilitate? The biggest challenge what I see in our university as well, see, a teacher might have done research on AI, maybe theoretical AI, solved some mathematical models, right? But when I talk about the industry application of AI, then students are not competent enough to actually showcase their talents in that, because they are more into, again, helping the teacher to solve the theoretical problems. So how can you facilitate this? Because one is mindset. Always the Vice-Chancellor or the management can say, okay, we will bring in these courses, but how to facilitate these courses as far as the curriculum or credit is concerned?
I think I may sound repeating again, but teachers are also used to a state of mind.
Okay.
And they are in that comfort zone, that I have been teaching this way and this is fine for me. Now we have to make it clear and sure, without any ambiguity, that students' requirement is this, and therefore you have to change and you have to supplement by industrial inputs. That's where we started the question.
Yeah, one of the model is a professor of practice, which Chairman
Professor of
AICTE told
practice
today.
is one thing. Professor of practice, all professors will not be professors of practice. Normal professors will remain, their role will remain. But they should also change somewhat, number one. Number two, they can supplement their efforts from the industry counterparts,
Okay.
which will have to become more of a routine rather than an exception. And this coming out of the comfort zone a little will somehow have to be facilitated or motivated, and then only this will happen. But that is where the question started, PPP.
Right.
Whether you call it PPP or academic industry.
Academic
I mean,
collaboration.
we have to make sure that our curriculum is delivered at least about 20% by the industry representatives.
Right.
Whether
Okay.
you call them professor of practice or you call them from the industry or whatever, but unless you make sure in engineering education that about 20% curriculum at least is delivered by the people who are much more well versed in industry rather than by professors alone, who may be very competent, very intellectually high caliber, but have less industry exposure. This mindset will have to change.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So my next question is to Professor Ahuja. So this question is also pretty relevant at this context of future of Indian education. How important is interdisciplinary learning to develop innovative problem-solving skill across Indian universities? Interdisciplinary, I'm talking about interdisciplinary learning process.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Let my first word be a word of gratitude. Gratitude to EduSkills for giving us this opportunity to be on this dais today. Interdisciplinary skills are very important today. And not only for engineering graduates, but also for students studying education, humanities, students studying management courses, students taking courses in medical sciences. I think each of the domains, because the way technology is advancing today, all of us talk of it. So it's equally important that an engineering student takes a course on fintech. He has the expertise, so to say, in AI, ML, data science, cybersecurity, but he is weak in economics, he is weak in financial technology. So he must take courses from allied areas. Likewise, a student in management should take a course on data science. Right? So, and as rightly said by Aggarwal sir, it's just the mindset. It's for us to incorporate this into the curriculum. And if teachers are not ready, that's the challenge today. If teachers are not willing to move out of their comfort zone and introduce newer concepts into the curriculum, then there is an issue. So that is why we should have industry people coming in and also teaching this, So the interdisciplinary part is very, very important. And technology tools like AI can help today to accelerate the students' learning. So most of the courses at the university that we have, 30%, sir mentioned 20%, 30% of them are taught by the industry experts. We share the curriculum with the industry experts and they come and teach the case study part on the theory that is taught by the teacher, by the professor. So it becomes more relevant, cutting across disciplines and giving them that knowledge which is required even otherwise. If they don't have this knowledge and when they go to the industry would say, okay, now you take this additional course as a part of micro-credentialing or a non-degree certification course. They will have to learn that, so why not put it in the curriculum today and enhance their employability? So
in this context, just I want to ask a simple question. So when I talk about interdisciplinary, right? So today if you talk about computer science, which is by default for almost every branch of engineering, it's not Hatke type thing, it's by default, right? And beyond that also AI and other things are also there. Gen AI is again branch specific you can do. Now in this context of interdisciplinary, see, problems can come from any subjects. The real life problem can come from any subject. It's manufacturing or maybe from civil construction or whatever, right? And back end, there's a lot of computation involved, a lot of tools we could talk about as involved, which is you need a statistical expert or a computer science expert to do this. So how do you feel this in the R&I or research and innovation sector also? Interdisciplinary can work fantastically well if you really focus on. It's not only certification program and other things, but how would the R&D of interdisciplinary things you are seeing as a future of Indian education?
Yeah, so I think research today is interdisciplinary. We don't have to make it it is interdisciplinary.
No, I understand this. Yeah. I understand this.
So to give you an example, a student of computer science does not have a course on sensors and automation.
Mm-hmm.
A student of computer science does not take a course on control systems. A student of computer science does not take a course on additive manufacturing. A student of computer science may not take a course on sensors and automation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he is a computer science graduate, but he is devoid of knowledge in multiple domains. So, if those courses are taught to him at the undergrad level, or even if you make it as research by default, if anything that is to be done requires experimentation, where he or she will end up using knowledge of different domains. So it will become interdisciplinary. And today, I think if students, if we don't make them think, they cannot be innovative any longer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right.
And research is all about creating knowledge. And if we are able to create or co-create knowledge, then that is innovation.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir. The next panelist, I want to ask a question. How can AI-driven tools, right? So today we talk about AI since morning. AI-driven tools personalize the education of each individual, as a student or a teacher, whatever you talk about, and enhance the student performance in the institutes. So how do you feel how this transformation of AI, bringing AI into education system, is going to help you in the personalized education, basically?
Let me introduce myself because name was not there.
Okay, sir. Okay, please.
Sharma, Registrar of the University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur. So I am representing the 𝐒𝐤𝐢𝐥𝐥 group based in West Bengal. It's the oldest self-finance institution over there. Started in 1989 and 96 we started the AICTE courses. Sir, let me have attention from all the audience over here. See, all of you will agree that we all are going through a change, and this change is very fast. If you will realize, with all the professors over here, all the industries, and all other persons, Professor Aggarwal sir is here, they will realize that 10 years ago, this change was not so fast. 15 years ago, at that time was not realized. But right now, the change is very fast. And my belief, and all of you will agree, that society is driven by industry. Society everywhere is governed by industry. The rules, regulations, everything is given by industry. When the industry has different things other than the academia, definitely the gap will be there, definitely the jobs will not be available, as well as our students, our, you can say, people will not have that particular orientation that they drive the society. So first we need to lessen this gap. This gap will be reduced, as Aggarwal sir has emphasized, that the regular interaction with the industry, as well as regular, you can say, over that how we can go ahead with the syllabus, curricula, and the industry-oriented thing. One person had told me that we speak about job-oriented. But my view is that the person should not be job-oriented. He must think about that whether he is job ready. Whether he is job ready or when they will be out of their course. So they need to be job ready. So as per your question, sir, regarding the AI related courses and what...
Not related courses. My question is personalized learning using AI tools, right?
Yes. So whenever, like over here, I am just taking an example, and all of you will relate. In a class of suppose 120 or 60 students, when the teacher is taking class, suppose I am a teacher and taking class, the facial expression of a student when the topic is not understood, when he is not able to understand what is going on in the screen and what is going on in the panel, the facial expression of the person changes.
Right.
So if we have a AI-enabled software or AI-enabled camera, which can capture the individual facial expression and based on the data, he can make out that, okay, 60% of the students are not able to understand what the panelist, the teacher is saying, and 20% of the students are very well understood. And making the immediate feedback to the teacher, and the teacher can immediately, within 50 or 40 minutes of the session, they can have the data that these students need the remedial classes. These students are very good, and there some tests can be given. So this is a small test we are doing in our university, and a project being given to the students to develop AR/VR solutions for this. So yes, as far as the personalized learning in the class, the AI can be helpful, but it requires, you can say, sophisticated training, as well as, you can say, the industry support for development of hardware and software. That is it.
Now, that is one aspect is like taking the picture of the students at a regular interval and see that how he is feeling about the class. That is one aspect. But if I do an assessment of a student, say I do an assessment of the student, then what is his as-is competency now when he comes to a class? And after the end of the class or a semester or whatever learning he has made, I will again take an assessment and see how much progress he has made on a particular topic, and which are the areas in which he could not able to answer the question. That means he has doubts in those areas. So can I use AI tools to actually to understand the learning process of a student?
Yes, sir, definitely. I hope many of the institutions and teachers are already doing it in their classes. After the COVID period, because the COVID, you can say, is a challenging period over that. Before COVID, most of the technologies were not available. EdTech companies were not available at that time. Very few companies were there. But after the COVID period, we can say there is exponential growth of the EdTech companies supporting the educational institutions. So you can understand that after the COVID period, the use of technology, AI-based technology and IoT-based technology increased in institutions, and teachers are using Google Classroom, different, you can say, assessment tools, AI-based tools where they can have the assessment examinations over there, and they can have an idea that what percentage of the course and the syllabus being understood by the student.
Absolutely.
And they can have the remedial classes in many of the...
Even you can give a recommended learning as well.
Yes.
Instead of giving classroom training, you can always give these are the video lectures which are pretty good for this, so they can go and learn, right? System itself. Yeah. Yeah, please add some.
I think if we can add here, see, one thing that would be interesting on this topic would be like, if you can have, see, today the hiring happens based on a designation skill. If it is more on a role-based hiring, like let's say if it is let's say SOC analyst, like 𝐍𝐞𝐻, from a student perspective, there should be a platform or methodology. They should see how much percentage they are fit into that role, and if AI can suggest certain number of topics or learning materials, so he or she can fit themselves to the role and they can map it to that. That would help actually.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yes, sure.
So, as we were saying, so after the COVID period itself, we have made a general practice in our classroom, and our class is also 15 minutes. So, for 15 minutes, the lecture is there, and for 2 minutes, there is a very small quiz on the lecture what the teacher has given. The quiz is online, on the mobile, it generates itself to our CRP system. Within 2 minutes, the student has to give the answer regarding what percentage of the lecture of that 15 minutes is understood. And the feedback immediately after for every class, the teacher got, and the student is going to work after out of 5 or out of 4 questions, how many they have passed. Accordingly, the immediate feedback is received by the student and the teacher for that particular class.
That means the AI tools are pretty effective for learning process. Absolutely. Thanks a lot, sir. So now next question is to Professor H.N. Nagaraju.
If you may allow, just sharing the best practices, So one of the practices that we have is, except for the first class, the first lecture, thereafter, when the teacher comes to the class, any time during that 60 minutes, the teacher will take a 5-minute quiz on what he or she had taught in the previous class. Right, and those marks are counted as part of the continuous assessment, and this is taken by the students in the online mode, on their cell phones, and this is totally application based. This is one thing. The other thing that other institutes can think of, which we have, initiated, is at the end of every year, we conduct an exit test on the theory that was taught in the previous year.
Okay.
Right? But this is all AI driven. Right?
Very nice. Right.
So, and it is course wise. So we are able to judge, evaluate, how much, students have been able to retain, how much of application they are able to, signify in whatever they have learned, and so on and so forth, and then that goes as feedback to the teacher for the next batch of students that he or she has to teach.
True.
But this is using, if technology was not there, we could not have used
Absolutely
this.
right. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yes, the next question is look at China's, the vocational training that we talk about, right? The China is far better than any other countries today. Now, in NEP also pretty nicely defined as vocational training should be given to the students of the universities, right?
Yeah.
So how today, today's Indian universities context, if you see it, how universities are aligned with this NEP's vocational or skill education as far as vis-a-vis China's vocational competency or skill is concerned?
Okay. Very good evening to all of you. So as far as NEP is concerned, of course, most of you may be aware of the name, but not literally in depth. So fortunately, I had the opportunity of being one among 32 Vice-Chancellors in the country selected for implementation of NEP in the country. For the entire Uttarakhand state, I was alone. So we could able to implement in Uttarakhand state. That was the first state to implement NEP. So with the help of State Government Minister Dhan Singh Rawat and all. So friends, as far as NEP is concerned, sir was talking about the vocational training and all. In general, in short, I have to say, it is a multidisciplinary, multiple entry, multiple exit option. Multidisciplinary, when I say, the entire 100% curriculum existing as on today, or till today, is divided into two now, 60%, 40%. 60% is the course curriculum which is supposed to study, 40% is the non-core. What do you mean by non-core is nothing but ability enhancement, skill enhancement, value-added course, generic elective, that is open elective. I am 100% sure in the entire group, not even one person is 100% happy with in which position you are now. That means to say, what I mean to say is, everyone is having minimum second talent, minimum. That is multidisciplinary, I mean to say. One sports, cultural, dance, music, and even language for that matter, different varieties of language. One who is a doctor, who is also interested in one or two engineering subject. One who is engineering student, he is also interested in MBA student. Like that, all these are there. So, and this is one way as far as theoretical curriculum is concerned. Sir is asking specifically about vocational training. So now as far as NEP is concerned, from 6th standard itself, in the school education, vocational training is being started. Of course, now those students have not yet come up to 6th standard now. So at the age of 6th standard means 11. So 11 to 14, that is 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. This is how the 12 years has been divided into 5 years. That is the foundation stage, then preparatory stage, middle stage, secondary stage. Like that. In the middle stage itself, that at the age of 11, in 6th standard, vocational training starts. Vocational training means, friends, so that's what sir was telling China. Why China is very good in particularly ties, all this thing and all. This is the skill-based training. Now if a student is coming from agriculture background, he may be given a plumbing course, gardening course. If a person is coming from technical or electrical background and all, he may be given the electrical training. Now, if our mobile is not working, before going home, we all of us go to the mobile shop, otherwise we cannot survive or we cannot live, spend the whole night. So mobile, so that means mobile repair, so TV repair. Even if IPL match is going, we will be losing. All these comes under this vocational training. So even for example, so if mixie doesn't work, mother will be so rather panic. But nobody knows how to repair. There may be a simple carbon brush may be replaced and all. Even if fuse goes, people are not aware of how to replace the fuse. All this comes under the vocational training. So all these, that means there are more than hundreds of bucket you can prepare. So these are very much important. This is what is being taught in China as well as in Japan. At the age of 6, instead of admitting to first standard in Japan, the students are admitted to the industries as such. That is how they are getting skill enhancement learning as such. China also same. Whether it is Olympic, Paralympic, anything, hundreds of medal. Why? The kid, even the baby is made to first dip in the, this thing, not in bucket, it is in the, what I can say, a pond and all, pool and all, and it is made to swim and all. So like that, even anything. So that you are seeing in most of, these are the vocational training which is missing in the present or so far in the existing. So in the university curriculum, out of the 40% curriculum, so multiple exit I told. First year, by the end of the first year, if a student goes out, he would be given a certificate. By the end of second year, he would be given a diploma certificate. And by the end of third year, he would be given the degree certificate. Now, by the end of first year, if he goes out, now what is happening? He will be losing lakhs of rupees paid and it is a waste. But if he incorporate vocational training at the first year level itself. So introduce electrical wiring, introduce telephone repair, introduce mobile repair, introduce your TV repair, plumbing, gardening, all skill enhancement. Even for ladies for that matter, don't feel bad. So your blouse design and all, 10,000, 15,000 rupees they pay even for designing of the blouse for this thing and all. Mehendi, they pay 10,000 and all. Okay, so all this fashion, this thing, so you go for, ladies go for this thing, no, fashion.
Cosmetics.
Cosmetic, this thing and all. All these are 10,000 and all. All these comes under 15 days or 30 days. So value-added course, vocational course only. So by introducing these at university level, so because 40% is now multidisciplinary, 60% only core, and that multidisciplinary subjects can be completed and can be covered either in online mode or offline mode, either in the same institute or in other institute, either in the same state or other state, either in the same country or other country. All these options are there. When that is the case, so then finally what happens, so far since morning we are talking of, so placement, recruitment and all, because of AI it is coming down. Doesn't matter. So now the students, the present day students are jack of many things, masters of nothing. But we people were masters of only one thing, jack of also only, so one thing only. But now they're all jack of many things. We have to imbibe, you have to inculcate, we have to impart them, so and so that, so they need not have to wait in queue for a job. They are equally competent enough to acquire their own job, so they need not have to wait. So if I do not get in this software industry, doesn't matter. I'm equally good in music, I'm equally good in dance, I'm equally good in sports, like that. So these are all the vocational training.
So
this is how China has come forward.
That is the beauty of multidisciplinary that a few minutes back we spoke about. Like if you have multidisciplinary,
and there is slight difference with interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. Dr. 𝐄𝐝𝐿 Aggarwal also might agree,
right.
Because in electrical engineering, we study digital electronics also of electronic subject. We also study DSP and all. These are interdisciplinary, which is a must. Which is a must. Even mechanical students will also study fluid mechanics and other subjects of civil engineering.
Right.
These are must and should. They are called interdisciplinary. But multidisciplinary is altogether different.
Right.
I can go for sports. I can go for medical one subject, one MBA subjects. Like
Thank
that.
you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
So for
yeah.
paucity of time, only 1 minute left. So I have to conclude this. So thanks a lot all the panelists. Fantastic discussion we had for the future of Indian education. So what conclusion I can draw here is, of course, there are tools in AI is there. So AI is always there for good part of education, how we can use the tools for the better part of the education and to bring a solid foundation to the Indian education system. Second thing we discuss about multidisciplinary or subjects which a student can choose, or maybe passion-wise. If I have passion on music, while I'm studying computer science, I can also take up music as a course for a 6-semester course and then complete that. So those things also we discussed. And last but not the least, how we can bring the vocational, because the EduSkill, whatever conference we do today, is basically, if I have to say from the engineering side, this is only building a skill on a vocational perspective. How can do the hands-on? So the fantastic job these people are doing in collaboration with many industry today we spoke. They are bringing the industry today and they understand the need of the industry for the future skill and giving us the opportunity to train our students on this, and they are facilitating that. So nice job EduSkill is doing for facilitating this, and thanks a lot to the EduSkill team entirely and the entire industry who are supporting to bring this future skill to us. And definitely we are with them. And all of us from all across the University of India have come here to understand this. We should always partner with them and see that our students are properly skilled and get a fantastic job for the future. Because always I say they have to sustain for next 40-45 years because they are in their 20s. They'll be retiring in 60-65 suppose. So they have to understand this technology is changing very fast. Like sir told, we learned one technology or one competency which we are surviving till now. But this generation has to learn many things to survive for next 40-45 years. So thanks a lot, sir. And thanks a lot for patient hearing. And thanks a lot, EduSkill, for bringing us here to opportunity to actually speak about this fantastic subject. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for this great discussion session. Now I would like to invite Professor Dr. 𝐄𝐝𝐿 Aggarwal, Chief Mentor from EduSkills, to please come on the stage and felicitate the panel members.
याद तो रखो।